Hello and welcome to STEM with Mr N's Robot Review in partnership with Robocube.co.uk, your destination for everything STEM. This week I'm going to be looking at some of the sensors that come with Ohbot and explaining how these connect to real life industry. Let's check it out. As well as a standard Ohbot, you can purchase different accessories such as glow eyes and different sensors. This week I'm going to be looking at the tilt, touch and camera sensors with Ohbot. The tilt sensor attaches to a slot in the back of Ohbot called the O-brain and comes with a sticky strip if you want to stick it down onto the Ohbot. I've decided to leave mine hanging loose in a spiral at the front. I'm now going to show you how to code the tilt sensor. You'll see I've got my standard coding sitting here that I like to have for Ohbot to blink and to recognise when he's speaking so that his lips move. Into this I'm going to add in the tilt sensor coding. First I'm going to put in the when green flag clicked box, and I'm going to go into controls and add in a forever loop. This means this programming will keep going until I tell it to stop. Inside the forever loop I'm going to put in an if something then loop, which is to say if this happens then do this. From sensing I'm going to find the one that says input tilt and I'm going to drag it over to attach it into my if loop. Now if my Ohbot is tilted, that means somebody is probably trying to take him. So I want to set appropriate coding for what Ohbot should do if he finds that he is being tilted. So I'm going to go into motion and put in the set eyes to red, and I'm also going to drag in some speech, and I want to set Ohbot to say, help, I'm being stolen. So now that my code is set up, I'm going to start the programming running and see what happens when I pick Ohbot up off the counter.
Help, I'm being stolen. Help, I'm being stolen.
And you'll notice that as Ohbot moved, his eyes lit up red and he gave out his warning message to alert anyone around that he was being moved. Ohbot also comes with a touch sensor, and I found the best way to make use of the touch sensor is to attach it to Ohbot's nose. So the cable plugs into the O-brain just like the tilt sensor, and using the small screws and screwdriver provided, you can screw the touch sensor in just behind Ohbot's eyes so the sensor touches the metal of the nose. And now I'm going to show you how you can program this touch sensor to work. So underneath my tilt coding, I'm going to go into events and put in another when green flag clicked, into control, put in another forever loop, and also put in an if this then loop, just like I did for the tilt coding. I'm going to go into sensing and find the one that says input touch and drag that over and add it into my if then loop. I want Ohbot to respond appropriately if somebody touches his nose. So I'm going to pull out from motion the set eyes to purple, and from speech I'm going to add in a speech block and have Ohbot say, don't touch my nose. I'm then also going to go into motion and tell him to set his eyes to off. So it's just a short action and then his eyes will go off again. Now that that coding's set up, I'm going to start it running and see what happens when I reach round and touch Ohbot on different parts of his nose.
Don't touch my nose. Don't touch my nose.
You'll see that Ohbot ran the programming successfully and responded every time his nose was touched. One of the other things you can purchase as an extra for Ohbot is a camera. So I'm going to set the camera up on my Ohbot just now. You can either use a headband and screw it into the top of Ohbot above his eyes, or you can use a sticky velcro strap that's also provided and attach it to the bottom of Ohbot, and it is this option that I am going with. So I'll stick down the velcro strap, open up the clip on the camera and attach it onto the base of Ohbot. Now that the camera is set up, I want to program it so that the camera will recognise movement so that Ohbot can work as sort of a guard robot. To do this, I'm going to pull over another when green flag clicked, another forever loop, and inside that I'm going to put another if something then loop. From operators, I'm going to find the box which has a white box, a greater than symbol and another white box, and I'm going to fit this into my if then loop. I'm then going to go into sensing and find the one that says camera face detected and drag that over and put it into the first white box in my green operation block. I'm then going to change it from saying face to saying movement by using the drop down, and I'm going to write a number 1 into the box on the end. From motion, I'm going to pull out the set eyes block and set it to orange, and I also want Ohbot to speak, so from speech I'm going to pull out a speaking block and have Ohbot say stop, who's there? Now that I've got that programming set up, I'm going to start the code running, pass my hand round in front of Ohbot and see if it detects the motion of my hand.
Stop. Who's there?
And you'll notice that when I pass my hand round in front of the camera, Ohbot does carry out the code that I asked it to do. You can also program the camera to recognise if a face has appeared in front of it. To do this, I'm going to change the movement drop down to face and change the number 1 to a 0, so that when more than no faces appear in front of the camera, it will follow out the coding underneath. I'm going to change the eye colour to green, and I'm going to change what it says to hello, who are you? And now that that's set up, I'm going to start the code and move round in front of Ohbot and see what happens.
Hello. Who are you?
And it worked. Ohbot recognised a face had appeared in the camera and it followed the programming that I'd asked it to do. Now you might wonder what tilt, touch, movement and face programming have to do with anything in the real world and how these skills will help you. Well, production lines more and more now are using machines, and these machines need to recognise if they are tilting or if they've been touched, if there's movement in front of them or if they recognise faces. This is not only to make sure the machines are carrying out their job correctly, but to make sure that the humans who are working with the machines are also kept safe and don't come into any danger from the machines not recognising that there is a human there. So some simple programming with Ohbot can lead on to more complex programming that is used in the real world to keep humans safe when working with machines. Well, that's all for this week, and I have really enjoyed using Ohbot in these review videos. In the Ohbot app and on the website, you can access a wide range of activities and lesson plans, so you're not left alone trying to come up with your own coding and ideas for your class. A huge thank you to Robocube for partnering for these robot review videos and for providing me with the Ohbot. Head on over to robocube.co.uk to check out the excellent range of STEM education toys that they sell. I'll see you in a couple of weeks with another review video. This has been STEM with Mr. N's Robot Review.